This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning and happy almost New Year to you. I wanted to dive in and I'm recutting Charleston here and just getting it into this format and trying to just drill right into the case for Charleston. And this one, I'll tell you, I do think it's on the easier side, but it centers around things pointing, the hands, feet, clocks. I've talked about this, and I think people know this. And I think that's for me, it's why aren't you following it? Why aren't you following it? I don't know. So I've got some continuing ed credits for work I need to finish up today. So I'm in really early, and this is how I'm getting my day started. I wish you all a very happy New Year again in 2024. Maybe there's some breakthroughs coming in the hunt. We'll see. All right, so there we go. Okay, let us jump in. There we go. Okay, I think this one's at Patriots Point. And quite simply, that's where the clock hands are pointing. And there's some big problems here, just like the other ones, right? It's like, I'm hopefully going to put something together on this, but if first place, getting the box, is not available, then I think we're playing for second place, which is the solve. Okay, so I know a lot of people are afraid to put their solve out there. They think someone's going to go and dig it because they see Boston. And look, there, the controversy around that, I'm going to get into that. However, that was found because of guys there with a backhoe. I think this one is actually going to be the same. I think this is the only chance, unless they let us go in there and poke around right now. I'm going to come to this, right? I talked about it. And if you're paying attention to this area, you live there, you know there's a massive renovation about to happen right there. So I think the best we can hope for is, I'm jumping way ahead. The guy with the backhoe digs it up. All right. So starts a pirate house per Treasure Island. This to me makes a lot of sense. This is almost like 43 and a half in San Francisco. It's just it's too good. It's too good. The idea that he's referencing Treasure Island and the pirate house located in Charleston that's talked about in Treasure Island. So Byron's an author and whatever. So I think there's really good evidence for this. It gets you into the downtown. Now this trek would take you over the Pearman, but the bridge, it's the pair is sitting there and it's attached, and why would it be so big? And he doesn't have to show us this. Again, it's an obscure bridge. No one really knows about it unless you were there. And now, of course, it's gone. It's just one of those things where why would he highlight it so much in the painting? So, yeah, I think you go over the bridge. I don't know. In any case, it's not that far to go from Pirate House over the bridge to Patriots Point. Okay, this is a big one here, folks. And this speaks to, and I've engaged people on this idea, that things are not random. Okay, this plays into New York hugely. So, if you're in this camp that, well, it's there, but that doesn't mean a whole lot, I don't think so. Especially things that are big or prominent, let's say, in the painting. So, I think you got to really ask yourself this: is something there random, or is it have a purpose or a meaning or double meaning or triple meaning? And that's, to me, that's super important. Okay, I personally I do not believe for a minute there's a lot of randomness, particularly in the paintings. I think JJP, I mean, he wasn't an unskilled artist. Look at what he put together. And he's all these multi-layers and multi-views. And I mean, this guy's like an absolute fountain of creativity. So I don't think maybe some brushstrokes on the side are random in these paintings, but no. So if you start from that, and that's a filter I'm laying over, and it could be wrong. It's a filter I'm laying over. It's to say, wow, if this is there and it's prominent, it's got to mean something. It's not just a hand or an eye or whatever. So I think you got to be curious about this stuff. That's how you get to good answers, I believe. So be curious. Why is this thing there? What could it mean? Now, people are doing that. They're going way off the board, right? I think that's a big problem. It's all these wow ideas like this guy that George had to kick off. I mean, and I tell you, you guys made a huge mistake chastising this guy. That was some of the best entertainment. Okay, if the was it the Babylon Bee or the Onion got a hold of the secret and was this is what they would say that we think is going on, right? I mean, it's so outlandish, but hey, the guy's trying. I don't know anything about him, but it was entertaining to think about it in such an extreme way. Anyway, so don't get carried away with this idea. But especially these things, and even the branch here is pointing to where I think the box is kind of pointing to what I think represent the ships in the water at Patriots Point. So I'll get into that. The hands are not random, okay? So I'm getting it. All right, tons of references to the Navy in this thing, okay? Just tons. And so I think this is a 1 + 1 = 2. All these references to the Navy, the hands are pointing to Patriot Points. Patriot Points is all about the Navy. It's these iconic ships like the USS Yorktown, and it's just all about the Navy. Yeah. So anyway, I don't think that's a stretch to put those two together. It's all these Navy references. Okay, we'll talk about some of those. And then you have Patriots Point where the hands are pointing. And by the way, and I was in the other video, I had the name wrong. It's Winter Point Garden, not Winter Park Garden, Winter Point. There's nothing pointing there. And I know you can find all these reasons why it's there. I actually had to go there and walk it. I was looking around, and it's such in the open. That area just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't spend too much time on that. All right. The clock hands get you there. Challenges. The natural changes to this area, right? This is unlike New York or San Francisco, for example. I don't think natural forces have had much impact. The hurricanes have rolled through here. How many times? And so when you're looking at mapping, and I do think he's showing you the shore kind of in Patriots Point, and it's very stylized. But yeah, I don't think you're going to get good matches, for example, unless you go back to the historic aerials, which yes, do. That's a must, by the way. The historicaerials.com. I'm plugging these guys. I don't know who they are, who's behind it. I've spent a good amount of money with them, so I'm referencing their stuff in these prezos. So hey, if they have a problem with that, I'll pay them some more money, okay? But I've spent a good amount of money on getting high resolution aerials from from these areas I think it's at. So in any case, you've got to be on that, okay? Historicaerials.com. Here we go. I won't expect any royalty checks from those guys. All right, man-made changes, right? The proposed area, just like a lot of these areas, it saw major renovation a couple years after Byron, if I'm right. So the parking lot was redone, and the old visitor center, which I think is a major reference point in this one, is gone. Okay, I think it used to be just this little white house, by the way, and now it looks like a cross. Okay, so if you're looking at the current maps in Google, for example, the overhead, you never would see this or make a connection. The best fit I can find is right there off the visitor center. So I'm going to show you that. So in any case, we got bigger problems here. The Vietnam Memorial was added right to this area. And, how much work did they do to put the memorial stuff in there? And they've got, I think, just Jeeps and turrets and guns and things like that. So I don't know. I really don't know. But I know this. At the time Byron was there, that memorial that sits kind of right where I think the casque was buried, that memorial is there now. There's not a lot of concrete, and it's not real formalized. So it's kind of sitting on the grass, but who knows what they did to get that stuff in there. And then the biggie is this guy. Okay, this is happening right now, folks. Right, so this Patriots Point redevelopment, and I think this article here is from 2022. So when I was there this fall, nothing had been done there, and the people there were saying, "Oh, it's about to happen." Well, I think it is right now, and so the folks in Charleston will be able to tell us what the status is. So I've sent this. It's Michael Bennett. His company is the one like redoing this thing. So I sent him a note, said, "Hey, can I poke around?" And I think this is buried there, and of course nothing. So, but yeah, they're gonna go through. It's gonna be like a big tourist area, hotels, and you can see it in the drawings and all that. So if this happens to be correct, good. I think it's goner, and it could have been gone like years ago when they did this parking lot renovation. So anyway, this is what we're up against. So I think this one, unless we get lucky, they either let us in there right now or the guy with the backhoe. It's either one of those. There's the guy with the backhoe. This looks like Boston, where all that controversy there, wasn't his solve, and I can't say one way or the other. However, the idea and that was an excavation there too, folks, right? He didn't go and dig it up. They had this big hole dug with a backhoe, like a big one. I think some of these are going to need an excavation. So, sadly, I think we're playing for second place on a lot of it. Second place is the solve. So, yeah, I'm putting my flag down on a couple of these places. Now, we'll let you know, join in. Like, I'm uncovering a solve that's there, I think, right? I'm not creating a solve. I'm just uncovering it. So you can join in on this. This is a community thing as far as I'm concerned. And maybe, if some of these turn out right, that would be cool for me. However, this is a community thing, I think. So don't be afraid to abandon your idea and jump on this one. The more people who think an idea, whether it's mine or someone else's, is right, the better chance that we'll know for sure, because all these different eyes are going to be looking at it and trying to poke holes in it or adding logs to the fire. I can't go out there and dig around in this area. I don't think anyone can. So anyway, I think we're playing for second place. All right, Pirate House. Of all romance retold, men of tales and tunes, cruel and bold, seen here by the eyes. Well, so this is, as you all well know, so I went and visited. I was there in the fall, and it's really cool. It's right downtown. It's historic. There's all kinds of things that would point and tell you, yeah, is it the right? I don't know. High probability? Yes. It just makes sense to me that Byron would, such a classic story, right? Classic book. And here it is. The Pirate House is mentioned, and there it is. So, yeah, I think this is a start. I think you work your way down to the shore, and then over the bridge you go. And there's ways to get up there. I'm not going to walk through all those. So you guys know people are over there because they're trying to get over to Fort Moultrie. And I actually did an operation at Moultrie. The first thing I did, and I can see why it wasn't right. That is very far away. Okay, get Moultrie off your list. I thought the butterfly was Moultrie, and it's close. It's wrong. All right, so Navy. It's all over the place in this thing. And I think you got to think about that. He's got all these references to the Navy. I'm not dreaming that up. It's true. So, Navy Way, it's a PB Works. I got this from their site. Kudos to them. And I always give you props when I know where something came from. It's, they say Navy Way is written up in here. I haven't actually taken the time to chart it out. Somebody probably has. But that was a film. A Navy recruiting film. Okay, so is it Navy or Navy Way? I think a lot of people think Navy is. So I want you to think about that for a moment. Navy is written potentially in the painting. Okay, so you might say, well, that just means the Maine and all that. Well, the Maine is kind of connected through Teddy Roosevelt. So anyway, I look at that. I'm just taking on the surface. If he's telling me Navy's important, what's the biggest thing in this area in regards to the Navy? It's Patriots Point. All right, so I think this one is on the easier side. It's just here's the fort, right? This is how it sits. So if I take this and I line up the painting with it, I'm going to come out of here now. And I line up the painting, right? Because when you look at the painting, and you guys know what it looks like, I'm not going to spend time on that. Whoops. Okay. It's at a certain angle, isn't it? It just, so the way John has represented Fort Sumter, and if you think this isn't Fort Sumter, and I saw someone the other day had, it matches some sign. There's a lot of different things that you could match to this shape, isn't there? This is like, it's an odd shape, but the most obvious one is the fort. Okay, so I'm not going beyond that unless I have good reason to. If it's like a second or third layer image or like a sign or something, like you're gonna put Fort Sumter up against a sign, and then who's gonna win? Well, I think it's this obscure sign in some park. No, okay, I'm just not buying that. All right, so anyway, I take the painting and I align it to the map. And now where are the hands pointing? I think that's a very easy exercise, okay? There's some geometry involved in here for all you engineers. I know you guys love this. You love math and science and engineering, and everything turns into a quadratic equation, which I will tell you I think is wrong. However, there is some geometry involved in this, so feel good about this. Get on this, engineers. Okay, so you line this up. I'm following the hands. Okay, here's the fit again. This isn't that hard, is it? Doesn't this make sense? Okay, so you do this with every painting where there's a clock. That's a secret sauce right there. Secret sauce. Just do this and see if you're in the neighborhood. Okay, by the way, when I'm talking about this stuff, it's not to criticize. It's not to get you on the solve I'm presenting. It's out of love. It's out of love for you. And why waste time on something that doesn't fit? I think this is an easy one. Take that clock and get it aligned. All right, and then see what happens. See if you can then see where it's pointing, and then does the clues in that lead there? If so, hey, you might have a winner. Okay, so out of love for you, don't waste time if this doesn't work in yourself. That's all I'm saying. All right, so here's our next one. Now I'm just backing away. Go back into it. Okay, this is approximately how the hands are pointing on the map. Now take a guess what's up here. You can see the Yorktown. Okay, now this is a far distance, and like if you just change angle slightly, but I'll tell you one thing on this. And also it's like, hey, well, what if it's past Patriots Point? That could be. There's nothing up there. If you take, let's do this. So you know the angle. It's coming off of here. Here's the fort. And it's pointing up this way, and it's kind of going right into the fort. So if I just keep carrying that over it, Drum Island, it like clips the side of it maybe, and then points way up here. I don't know. It's like cargo ships and stuff. Maybe. I don't think so. I'm stopping where the Navy is prominent. Right here at Patriots Point, where these historic ships are. And by the way, this is our arms. Okay, I'm cutting ahead. In any case, I just want to show you that. So I was like, how do you know it's Patriots Point? Well, this is the first major thing. By the way, it's a huge Navy reference, right? It's all about the Navy. Okay. So this is your angle. It's pointing right to Patriots. Oops. Come on back here. Sorry. It's pointing right there, is it not? So where it isn't pointing to, it's not. If you line that, there's no way you can get it to point over here to Sorry, I called it Winter Point. White Point Gardens. That's how much I'm paying attention to this spot, okay? Oh, all right. And you got your mulch reference, all this. And this, I mean, this is so in the open. There's people here 24/7. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. Nothing's pointing there. Although, you get up from it's on Church Street, the Pirate House, and you can boop, work your way right there. That's not where I'm at. Okay, boom, here we are. We're up here. So I think it's that easy on this one. It's kind of like St. Augustine. So you see, I'm not using this massive amount of math and equations and these wild connections and I don't know. I think this one you just deal with what's on the board. That's my saying. Play the chips and pieces that are on the board. Stop going so far off the board. I think you're wasting a lot of time with that. Why would I do all that when I can just triangulate with the hands of the clock? Unless that whole concept is bunk and not good, which I think it is good. I think that's what John said in the Boston Solve. That's hugely instructive, isn't it? So run with that idea, please. All right. So here's our next one. If I look at things in the painting, I think that are different, right? So this is not, it kind of looks like a mirage, but there are some differences to it. And I think that's important. So when I look at the bridge, this is kind of upside down. It's upside down in inversions. And you can see, right, this is really confusing. But there's definitely a difference. This is not over on this side. So I read that as this is the bridge. And if you look at old pictures of that Pearman Bridge, indeed, it's got this sort of double loop to it kind of thing. So let's turn it around, right? If I turn that picture around and I got to adjust the angle a little bit here, but this looks like the bridge down here. I'm telling you, I think these things in the water, these images here are the boats. So you see that here, maybe, this is, I think this is Yorktown. This is the pier going out to it. And this is the gem. Okay, it's very stylized. I grant you that. It's not easy to see. And I don't know if but this looks like water to me. And boats. I think these are the boats. This up in here would be a close-up of the gem. And so you've got, kind of looks like the man-made structure here and maybe some trees and what have you. But again, that area has changed so much. It's really hard, I think, to use this close-up to make an assessment. Okay, so I just want to show you that look for these differences. Even the eye, may not notice it. And maybe this can be instructive to you. So I think it is here. All right, here's our next one. So people have seen this. PB works. I saw this. I'm like, yeah, I think that's good. It's a good match. I don't think this is a stretch. So this is, upside down. And I look for angles. I look for harsh angles in these paintings. I think that tells us man-made. So then I'm using man-made objects to try to get a reference point. Okay, we see that again in the bikini. And maybe that's what the neckerchief from the Navy. I don't know. It also looks like the back of an aircraft carrier where you've got, these two things. You got the runway, right? And then you got the ship. Kind of looks like that. All right. So, yeah, I think this is a good match. This is telling us Navy. And this ship, like, it could have been sitting down at Patriots Point. And that's one thing I think to get maybe a little more certainty on this one, you would want to know, because they've moved ships in and out of this area. Okay, the Yorktown's been there, but the other slots have changed over the years. And so that's another difficulty here. What ships were there when he would have buried it? And that I don't know. Someone would probably figure that out, though. Probably if you called them, they would tell you that. Okay, so let's look at this face. Now, and I do apologize on the name. I exchanged some messages with him, but he's like, that's Teddy. Wow, Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy is all over this thing, folks, isn't he? I happen to really like Teddy. Maybe that's bad because I'm biased to Teddy, right? He just shows up all over the place in this thing. He's connected to Funston in the San Francisco solve. He was good buddies with him. He shows up in the New York solve, of course. Good buddies with Von Briesen, so that's a great connection to the Von Briesen solve that I've thrown out there. So here's Teddy again. Like, yeah, I think, how can you not think this isn't this famous, maybe the most famous picture of Teddy? Okay, Teddy was acting Secretary of the Navy. All right, let that sink in for a second. Here's another massive connection to the Navy. I'm not imagining that, I don't think. He was a big part of the Navy. And I put a little quote down here. When he took over, he went at it. And that's when you had the Maine sinking, and it's referenced maybe in the verse. And I'm not gonna get into there because I'm gonna let other people go into the details of the verse, what have you. These are pieces on the board, and I'm trying to interpret them. I'm not going too far off the board, hopefully for you. Okay, so and here's the Navy stripes over here, and I put those service stripes. I'm not that familiar with the Navy and the military and how it all works. And clearly there are stripes. I think that's what these are. It's pretty easy. So yet another reference. Okay. This I think is probably Moultrie. I don't know though, but a star that's very associated to the military. And as you start to solve these puzzles, you realize how much he references Navy and military people. And I don't know Byron's association or affinity for that. I see it show up all over the place in these puzzles. And you probably do too. So I think that's a theme. Like, that's a theme. He's favoring military. The batteries in San Francisco. Here, like, man, if there's a place that speaks of the Navy besides the Naval Academy, it's probably this place. So there you have it. Now, also, right, I see the hand is still pointing. And this I'm going to show you here in a second, but I think this is important. I think there's another clue in these hands. Okay, so here it is. Are you with me on this one? I hope. I'm trying to make it easy. Just use what's there. Don't fight it. Don't go way off the board. Just use what's there. I think it's sitting right there. All right, so here is our lady friend. I think what you're seeing in these arms, look at how try to put your arms in that position for a minute, okay? Look at that. I mean, like this, it's not super comfortable. It's hard. It's just bizarre. This represents something, doesn't it? And look at what a great fit it is with the ships. It's got the same angle, and look at how rounded. I don't know if this was the ship. I think this aerial was from 83. So in 83, just pulling it up on historic aerials. Now that's the problem here is if it was buried in 80, 81, there's a gap, a couple of years. So I don't know. I can't tell you if this was the right boats that were here, but I know this angle, this pier is there today, and there are ships sitting here. So I think we count on this angle. You can see it today. Okay, so look at that. I don't know. I'm going to zoom right in for you. Does that look like a match? So if I'm in Patriots Point, do I have visual confirmation in the painting of where I'm at? I do. I mean, this solve, I think, this is valid. Okay, so like now, follow the hands. Like she's pointing down, and where's down? It's like, it's somewhere. Maybe it's hard to say. This is very gnarly, I think, in here. And then when you look back at that Teddy image, it sort of points over here, and I'm going to show you that next. But I want to show you the arms. This, I think, is a good fit. All right. You can go and investigate that on your own if you'd like. All right. So this last one that I have is showing you a fit to the road. So I don't know. This is probably kind of the weakest. Oops. This is maybe a weak fit. But this again, so this area was totally reworked right after Byron. And this road is all is completely different. And it seems like it's going to change again. Man, this is a challenge. So this is a photograph. This is like the best one that I have in the arsenal because you see the old visitor center here. And I actually got to go back a slide to show you the fit there. This, I think, is the mouth. And you got the hand basically pointing to like right here from the clock if you line that up. So yeah, like I see some trees and stuff. It's really hard to see because these photos, they're not super high quality. Now I think the arms, if you follow those fingers, like they're sort of pointing more down this area. So I don't know. This is a huge area here, and this has changed. Like this is all that Vietnam Memorial now. This is why this one. I think we need a lot of luck. This is a huge area, and it's changed. So we're got the same problem again here. All right, so I think that road fit is pretty good with this. I don't need this though. Two, it's like the pair is connected up here, so maybe this is actually the bridge. I'm guessing. So anyway, I think this one is just a little stretchy, but it does capture this road, which is now totally different. You won't see this on Google Maps. All right, so I'm gonna go back here. I've got this. Sorry for the delay. Where's my? Yeah. Oh. All right, there we go. Okay, so this is my fit. Now, this is so grainy, folks. I apologize. But if I'm in Patriots Point now, I'm looking to, like, where's my spot? How do I find the spot? And so it very much looks like the mouth. And I can't tell you what's here. It clearly is different. You have this darker parking lot and then this lighter shade. Like maybe someone who was there, maybe someone who was working at this time, or someone has kept photographs. So I talked to the Historical Society and I tried to get all these old photographs, and they sent me some. Nothing showed this area. So some individual might have those photos to show us what this visitor center looked like. But the fit to the mouth, because what is that mouth? Tell me what that mouth is. And when I was at Moultrie, I had all kinds of ideas what it was. Kind of looked like something up there. But man, I shouldn't be at Moultrie. So the fit to the mouth, and you'll see this. Pull up the historic aerials. Now I did pay these, I paid for the high resolution one, and it's still not that high res. So look at the mouth fit. So now if you turn it the other way, I guess, but that would put you like down on the other side of the parking lot. Why would he be there? He's going to be up where there's views of the boats. And by the way, you can see the skyline of Charleston from here. He likes these skyline spots, like in San Francisco and New York. So that's why I tell you, solve other puzzles, because when I think about this area, do I have confidence that he would be on this shoreline right here? Heck yeah, I do, because I've seen that in other puzzles, and I have good confidence on those. So yeah, like he's going to go for a view, and this is a great spot for him to do that from. All right, so there it is. There's the fit. So this hand, I'm following the small hand again. You can see there's something maybe on the side here that's the gem. And that puts it right, right on the shore there. Like right here. Now, if I look again a little closer at the painting, there's a cluster of trees, I think. Not that one. Yeah, so, you see it. This, I think, is a close-up of where the gem is. This. Okay, so this kind of is angular, kind of looks like a man-made object. These, I think, are possibly trees. So it's like there's a cluster of trees, and it's right there. So anyway, so that fit, I think, is really, really good. Now, this is where I think it's just kind of loose. I don't know if that's the right fit. This is so grainy, but it has this sort of submarine shape with the teeth, and gosh, I wish this was one of those really clear aerials. You would know for sure. So I don't know about you, this looks like a small white house to me if this was the old visitor center. And That makes sense from a verse perspective too, right? White House close at hand. Boom. So I think it was maybe in here somewhere. Okay. Good luck trying to get it. First of all, you can't dig in here. There's a guardhouse here now, and I think there's people there 24/7. So if you want to try to even do an operation in here, good luck. I think you'd need permission and all that good stuff. So anyway, so that's Charleston. I see. I didn't go that far off the board. I hope for you. I try not to. I think that leads to better answers. So happy to get your feedback on Charleston. But hey, have a very happy new year, and I look forward to talking to you in 24.